Hello, hello, powerful creators. Welcome to Frequency Led Podcast, which is frequency led creation. And the leading frequency is love. Love is the foundation for all creation. And as I always like to say, ambition looks good on you. Loving yourself looks good on you too. And I help you fulfill your ambitions while falling in love with yourself and your creations. I mean, seriously, ambitious women. You're brilliant, you're awesome, you're smart. But you don't have to make falling in love with yourself as your backup plan. And I feel you, and it's been my journey. So let's expand our creations and manifest our visions from our open heart, connected to love, because that's the source of all abundance, wealth, freedom, and possibilities. That's what I'm all about today. I'm Jules. I'm your host here, and also a frequency-led creator. Just a few announcements. First of all, I'm completing 1 month of the Money Code experience, and wonderful participants and we were meeting in the Zoom yesterday. So we had beautiful discussions, and I was just in awe of hearing this combo in their sentences when they were talking. And the combo is love and money. And love and money, they do operate on the same frequency, which is the frequency of safety. We've learned to believe that we feel safe when we are loved from outside of ourselves, loved through others, or loved through our accomplishments, or when we make money, or when we have that status of money fulfilled. And then we're never really connected to love, because love is always within us. We are the source of love. So that's why the leading frequency of creation here is love, because money is the byproduct, because love and money operate on the same wavelength. And I'll probably do another episode on that. But as I've been going through this money code creation and experience, of course, I've also been experiencing my own revelations. And the recent example had really brought quite a few things for me, and I wanted to share this in this episode. First of all, you can have access to the Money Code experience via Telegram. So there are probably about 20 audio transmissions with some self-assessments, some other work. And as you know, my work is not so much about information, which I also can give you lots of information because I love studying psychology and science and art of creating impossible and all of that. But when I run my experiences, my intention is to activate the energies within you that you remember, you just forgot. And the main energies that I am intending to activate through all of my experiences are connecting to your energy of love, your energy of inner power, and your energy of trust, which is your intuition as well. So that's why you can still have access to this Money Code experience. It has a lifetime access. It is $111. And yes, you will not have access to the Zoom session, but I will include a coffee chat that you can schedule, and we can chat whatever you have. So I will put that in the show notes. And of course, we have 1 spot remaining for our Charleston retreat, which is coming up in about a week. I'm so excited. So check the all the details in the show notes. And another retreat that I'm co-hosting with another amazing coach, Shelby Hansen. We are going to do a retreat here locally at Hocking Hills in the end of June. So please check that out as well. So we have about 4 spots remaining there as well. So yeah, lots of in-person retreats in the era of ChatGPT and AI. I believe that the human connection and feeling the energy in the room of like-minded people, that cannot be substituted by any AI or any ChatGPT, even though they're amazing tools, especially when they are used in the way that it supplements and also amplifies who you are and your gifts. All right, so let's get to this episode, and I'm happy to share what's been coming through me from this experience, and this is all related to money and our ambitions. Okay, so I think so many ambitious women, visionary women, experience this, but they don't always realize that's actually like what's actually happening underneath that. So what we usually think, ambitious and visionary women, we think we have a money problem. We think we have a sales problem. We think we have a client problem. We think we have a visibility problem. So essentially, we are, again, oriented to the outside and see like the problem is out there. But what if it's actually what if what's actually happening is that life is revealing the emotional contract we still have with money, leadership, ease, and our own worth? Because I recently had an experience that looked very small on the outside, but internally it activated an entire identity spiral inside of me. And yes, I'm so grateful that I was available for this experience, and I was available to be aware of what was happening and also leading myself through this experience. And that's what I wanted to share with you, what came through, and I know you'll relate to a lot of it. So here is what happened in kind of like a vague way. I don't want to give all the details to protect this whole situation and the person. So I had set an intention. It's like a 48-hour intention. And actually the intention was not so specific to anything. So the 48-hour intention that I set was, universe, reveal your presence to me and surprise me. So, and I wrote the time and the date and 48 hours from that. And I sealed the deal, I signed it. And when you set the intention, and especially when you put it into writing, you activate this beautiful frequency that is called expectation. You expect the surprise. And of course, your brain, your nervous system start working to support your expectation. So we know in brain, this reticular activating system, which is our filter system, and when we expect surprise or expect something, our brain starts working to help us to orient our focus, to direct our attention. And for 48 hours, I've been expecting a surprise, and I've been contemplating about it, and I've been curious about it, and all of that. And I've been just co-creating with the universe, and I've already been sending my gratitude. And it's just so fun to expect a surprise coming in, right? So try this experiment. It's relatively simple. And it's so profound, and you're also learning how to direct your focus attention when you expect something like a surprise. So I was really feeling grounded about it, and at the same time curious. And I also decided like the next day, I kind of was feeling the energy of giving myself some rest and ease. And I remember that day, I was just feeling so like I wasn't doing anything. I was just hanging out, kind of feeling my flow, staying in the flow, staying in that ease, feeding myself, nurturing, just like kind of doing nothing, which of course my nervous system is still adapting to this energetic shift. And then that day, which was like within that 24-hour mark, I believe it was like my time when I said it. It was 2:50 p.m. And within that 24-hour mark, I think it was around 1:20, seemingly out of nowhere, somebody reached out, interested in joining our retreat in Charleston. And that's the thing. I remember I was sitting at the kitchen table. I was just like finished my lunch, and I hear my phone ringing, which is also nowadays is so rare that somebody actually calls. People, usually text, right? And then somebody calls, like, of course. And the funny thing is that my ringer is always off. But somehow, I don't know why it was on. Maybe because I was expecting a call from my husband. The ringer was on, so I actually was able to hear. And I saw and recognized the name. So I picked up the phone and I answered. And this wonderful lady, she was interested about a retreat in Charleston, and it's just coming up in a few days. And I gave her all the information, sent her the link, and it was just it felt so easy. It felt so aligned. It felt so like that miracle frequency, right? It felt exciting in this also very grounded and calm way. And just like I always teach my clients, and I say, this is that of course frequency. And I was expecting this surprise, not related to anything specific. And of course, I took that as a surprise, and that came as, well, of course, this is my surprise. This is amazing. It was so easy. And I was just there and I was available. And of course, like when you expect that, of course, your availability expands. Of course, I'm available to receive a surprise. And that 48-hour mark is really, it just feels so like enough, just enough to maintain that energy and expand that energy. So I remember I was thinking after I hung up with her, wow, this is what circulation feels like. This is what flow feels like. This is what being a prosperity portal feels like. No chasing, no proving, no hustling, just alignment, resonance, and flow. And then the old identity activated. The moment there was a little uncertainty, a little friction, a little question around pricing, logistics that came through the next day, I could literally feel my nervous system shift. And suddenly, I was no longer just receiving this ease and flow and this surprise. I was negotiating internally, overthinking internally, questioning internally, and all of that felt so familiar. And I could feel my energy just shifted in an instant. And remember, we're still within a 48-hour mark, except it's the next day. So she called, I provided information. She also texted me later that she's all in. And then the next day, this is where all the pricing and money and logistics started to come through. And my old identity got activated. So I was no longer just receiving. And what's fascinating is that none of it was actually about that person. The friction was within me. And that situation and that pattern that person represented activated familiar protective responses within my nervous system. And the pattern was basically she was questioning the price and asking for a discount. And this is what I realized. My nervous system still associated money with struggle. Meaning, if something came easily, if something felt aligned, if money arrived through resonance instead of force, part of me unconsciously distrusted it. Because I learned somewhere growing up that money comes through hard work, sacrifice, pressure, proving, overthinking, stress, and emotional labor. Not through joy, not through ease, not through embodiment, not through magnetism, not through simply being fully expressed in what lights me alive, not through the energetic standards that I set around the price. And honestly, this awareness hit me deeply because I realized I don't actually distrust my gifts. I distrust whether the world validates my gifts enough. Does that feel familiar to you? And that's very different because I know what I carry. I know my words move people. I know my energy activates people. I know my retreats transform people. I know my frameworks are powerful. But there was still this old identity underneath saying, yes, but is this legitimate enough? Can I really make money doing what I love? Can I really trust the path that feels alive to me? Can I trust manifestation, energetics, consciousness, leadership, love, and the unseen? Or should I have picked something society validates more? Like being a doctor, being a dentist, being an accountant. Those titles, when you say them, it's like, yep, it's legitimate, it's proved, it's validated. And I think so many women live here quietly. One foot in their truth, in their passion, in their what I love to do, and one foot in survival. One foot in their vision, and one foot in external validation. And it's exhausting because your energy leaks when you secretly distrust the very thing you're here to embody. You're essentially distrusting your own channel of you, your own source of what is flowing through you. And what I realized through this whole experience is that money itself was never the authority. But unconsciously, I had made money the authority figure in my life. Money decided whether my work mattered, whether my gifts were legitimate, whether I was allowed to trust myself, whether I was successful enough, whether I was valuable enough, whether I was allowed to enjoy what I do. My financial freedom was all attached to money. And that's, of course, not financial freedom. Financial freedom is when you're no longer emotionally outsourcing your identity to money and allowing to access your own freedom of choice of how you want to show up in your business and how you want to share your gifts because you value your gifts. Financial freedom is just being able to say, I trust myself even before the external evidence fully catches up. I take ownership of my mastery even before the external evidence fully catches up. That's freedom. And another layer that got activated through this whole experience was leadership. Because I also realized I had assumptions about people. Before this person even entered the experience, I had already subtly categorized them in my mind, which again is my common pattern of protection. And basically it sounded like this. Maybe she won't fully get this work. Maybe she's not fully aligned. Maybe she won't understand manifestation or energetics or consciousness the way I do. Does that sound familiar? When you're like, you want your clients to come into your world, and at the same time you have already opinions and assumptions about them, right? And what I realized is sometimes our judgments are actually protection mechanisms. Because if I secretly fear being misunderstood, and check in with yourself, is this one of your fears? Then I unconsciously pre-protect myself by deciding ahead of time who gets me. And of course, I create many experiences like that. Because the people I meet, they essentially project that I already have about them, that opinion I have about them already. But true leadership is not, I feel powerful only when ideal clients mirror my language perfectly. True leadership is, I trust my embodiment enough to lead the room. I trust my gifts, my mastery, my channel enough to lead the room, regardless the validation that I receive or don't receive. And that shifted something inside of me deeply, because I realized this person was not actually creating the friction. She was activating the friction already inside of me. Sometimes the exact situation that activates your discomfort is also expanding your capacity. And that can only happen when you are able to see the pattern and lead yourself through the pattern consciously. Because what usually happens when you're still not aware, not quite connected, you go back to self-judgment, self-criticism, and that is not expanding your capacity. That just keeps you in the same perpetual loop of recreating the same and predictable, and then essentially confirming your fear, whatever the fear is, like, well, and that's why nobody gets my work, right? But that's another subject here, another diversion here. So what's fascinating is that while I was coaching myself through all of this internally, I stopped emotionally gripping the outcome. And also, I actually took myself for a walk instead of like asking the question and actually making a decision. Answering her question and making a decision. I actually took myself for a walk and kind of went through this whole process of self-coaching and leading myself through the experience. But at the same time, I also set an intention for her to trust her own choice and decision and make a decision before 3 p.m., which is going to be my 48-hour of that whole surprise intention that I talked about. So I went for a walk, was using my all my skills and gifts to transmute my energy of this fear, lack, uneasiness that came through, to lead myself through, and holding that intention for her to make her own decision on her own terms. And then after 3, we'll see where we are. That's where I was. So, as I was on my walk, self-coaching myself, I stopped trying to control it. I stopped over-explaining. I stopped emotionally negotiating. I paused, I reflected, I regulated, I connected to the abundance, freedom, through nature, through movement, through my own self-talk without judging. And that happens through love when you don't judge, through compassionate awareness for yourself, for the part of me who came and got scared. And eventually, that person made the decision. Like I remember, I think it was like at 2:30, She actually made a decision and she paid the amount. So I didn't have to explain or negotiate or do any of that with her because I did all of that with myself. So that got resolved. And what was so profound about that moment was not even the payment itself. It was the realization that I don't have to emotionally wrestle every dollar to the ground. I don't have to emotionally be available right away to make a decision right now and fix everything right now. Because that's the old identity. The old identity thinks if I don't emotionally manage this situation, I could lose the money, I could lose the client, and then I'm doomed. And instead, the opposite happened. The moment I relaxed my grip, the moment I was able to see myself from the higher consciousness, the decision completed itself. And that showed me something so important. My next level is not about becoming more magnetic. I already am magnetic. And this is where I invite you to check in with yourself, where you're not allowing yourself to actually feel your magnetism that you already possess now. And join me in this challenge, because my next level is more about becoming available for the magnetism I already carry. And that's different. Let's do it together. And I think this is what prosperity consciousness really means. As that is something that I've been contemplating on as I've been leading people through this money code experience, which I will do another episode, but just here to mention prosperity. Prosperity is not how do I get money. Prosperity is how available am I for life to move through me. Because prosperity is the embodiment. You are the embodiment portal of life. Like the life, you are life manifested through you. And prosperity is that embodied state of who you're being. How available are you for life to move through you? To move ideas, love, connection, creativity, leadership, support, joy, money, miracles, impact, expansion. You are the prosperity portal through which everything moves, through which everything gets experienced. So this entire experience also revealed something deeper from childhood for me as well. I realized that somewhere along the way, I learned that what feels alive, joyful, meaningful, passionate, magical, creative, spiritual, visionary, probably is not what creates money. And I know you can relate to that, especially you are the ones who are creatives, intuitives. That what creates money is seriousness, struggle, exhaustion, proving, external status. That's what creates money, the serious me. Yeah, the title such as doctor, that's respectable. Corporate CEO, even though she is burnt out, that's respectable. But a woman teaching manifestation, the art and science of creating impossible, energetics, consciousness, identity, love, and human transformation? Oh, no. The conditioned mind goes, that's cute, but is it real? It's like the whole universe says, well, here it is. This is what makes you alive. This is what I love doing. This is what I read about. I love the psychology of the identity. I love consciousness. I love quantum physics. I can do this every day, and I do. And when I share that with other women, and when they become alive, and when they bring their visions into the physical reality, and I see their whole energetic state of being changed, transformed, like, that is priceless. I love that. And if this is my gift, then it's really my job to honor my gift. It's really my job to take ownership of my gift and my mastery. And don't let money be the authority. And the money is the byproduct of me, byproduct of my prosperity portal. Because guess what? Money loves freedom. Money loves the prosperity portal to flow in and out and through. And that's kind of like my old identity. So when I go out there to networking events and all of that, this is exactly my old identity comes to play and says, well, here we go. Everybody has very solid, legitimate titles, but me. And this part of me is just shrinks and asks, ooh, should have I become a dentist? But that doesn't feel good to me. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm here to embody and claim. So part of me was still waiting for money to grant me permission to trust myself fully. And that's why this experience mattered so much. Because the breakthrough is not going to happen when money finally proves I am valuable. The breakthrough happens when I stop requiring money to grant me permission to believe in myself. That changes everything. Because then your work stops carrying the energy of please validate me and starts carrying this is what I came here to embody. That frequency is entirely different. People feel it. Money feels it. Your body feels it. It's the vibration. And you feel it. So one of the biggest realizations I had through all of this is that ease itself requires nervous system capacity. We talk so much about healing fear and stress and trauma, but many of us also need to heal our relationship with ease, expand our capacity for receiving money with ease. Because if your identity was built around overworking, proving, pressure, and survival, then ease can actually feel unsafe. Ease can feel suspicious. Ease can feel temporary. Ease can feel like something bad is about to happen. Because if it happens too easy, it's not true, or it's going to be gone soon. And I caught myself unconsciously trying to recreate struggle around receiving because struggle felt more familiar than ease. That awareness alone changes everything. Because once you see the pattern, you stop becoming the pattern. So you can see the pattern through the light of love, not judgment. And then you transmute the energy of the pattern through your awareness, through your ability to see through love, because that's how you can transmute the energy through love, not judgment, not fear. And maybe that's what this whole experience is all about. Maybe manifestation, that's what it is, because manifestation is actually, the meaning of it means revelation. So, and this is what this experience revealed through me, through my portal. That I'm not here to control reality. I'm not here to focus on outcomes. I'm not here to pretend everything is positive. But I'm here to be conscious enough to stop recreating the same emotional identity inside new opportunities. And that's the shift. And that's the leadership, where you're breaking the pattern, you're interrupting the pattern of the identity that is no longer a match to the reality that I'm here to embody and create. And that's leadership. That's prosperity. I think true prosperity is the ability to remain connected to yourself while life expands around you. It's like that anchor in the ocean, in the water. The waves are constantly flowing. The ocean is constantly there. And you have this anchor. So where you're so grounded, you're so solid, you're so in touch with the ocean, you let it flow through you, and you still come back to knowing who you are. You are the one who anchors through your identity, through your decision. So you're not abandoning yourself while building success. You're not sacrificing your joy while creating wealth. You're not postponing your connection to yourself until after you make it. You're not making falling in love with yourself as your backup plan. But realizing embodiment is the work. And you're already enough as you are, and you can expand. Your alignment matters. Your nervous system matters. Your joy matters. Your truth matters. Your channel of you matters. And especially if you are in business where the business is you really do matter. Your channel is everything in your business. And of course, the entrepreneurial path, I feel it's the most spiritual path that you can ever experience when you're opening yourself and your spirit to be the leading force in creating your entrepreneurial journey. Because you're learning a lot about yourself. And when you have that vision is asking you to rise. That vision is asking you to expand. And this is where you have to be honest with yourself. You matter. Your channel matters. Your gifts matter. How you want to share them with the world matters. And perhaps financial freedom is freedom from the emotional authority money has held over your identity. And that feels like the real wealth to me. When the money is not the authority, you are. Take your power back. I'm going to leave you with 3 questions to help you reflect on your own patterns around money, ease, and love. Question number 1, if you want to write it down. Where in your life are you still unconsciously believing that struggle, pressure, overworking, or emotional exhaustion make you more deserving of money, success, or receiving? What parts of yourself, your gifts, your passions, or your vision are you still waiting for external validation, money, status, or proof to give you permission to fully trust and embody? If money stopped being the authority over your worth, your decisions, and your identity, who would you allow yourself to become, create, receive, and enjoy now? So these are your 3 questions. And if you want to share your answers, you're welcome to reach out. You're welcome to schedule the coffee chat. This is a completely free session for us to connect, and I really, really would love to get to know you. And now, go out there, be you, honor the channel of you. You are the source. You are the prosperity portal through which life gets manifested. Enjoy the journey. And thank you for joining me. If you are in love with this episode and all that I shared here, I'd greatly appreciate that you would share this episode with other like-minded women who need to hear the message. And thank you for sharing.